Close your eyes. Let the world pull back like the tide. There is no urgency here, only rhythm, only breath, only the soft invitation to listen. Begin with the body. Feel the way your shoulders rise, how your spine rests, how your chest opens and closes like a wave folding into itself. Let the breath come in. Let it leave. Don't direct it. Don't shape it. Just witness. You are standing at the edge of the ocean, but not above it, inside it. The sea is around you, salty, vast, still. And beneath the stillness, movement. The tides. They're not loud. They don't roar. They whisper. Not in words, but in presence. And as you settle deeper, you begin to hear what you've never heard with your ears. A kind of language without letters. A kind of knowing without logic. It begins in your skin. You feel the pull. Not backward, not forward, just inward. The tides speak in rhythms, not sentences. A pull here, a stillness there, a sensation behind the heart, a flutter in the belly. You don't translate it, you feel it. There's no need to understand, only to stay open. You begin to notice how much you usually try to solve, try to fix, try to be certain. But here, the ocean doesn't need certainty, only attention. So you give it, you offer your silence, you surrender your grip, and in return, the sea begins to speak. Not about the world, about you, not about your mind, about your essence. It speaks in the way the breath slows. It speaks in the way your inner voice grows quiet. It speaks in the sensation that you're not alone inside yourself anymore. You are not here to find answers. You are here to hear what's always been speaking, beneath the noise, beneath the thought, beneath the effort. Stay. The tide is rising, and it has something to say. You are deeper now, not beneath the waves, within them. Each breath feels longer, each thought feels softer. Your body is no longer something separate. It has become a vessel. Not for doing, but for receiving. The tide moves through you, not with force, with rhythm. And within that rhythm, something begins to arrive. Not a voice, not a sound, a sense. It starts in the chest, a pressure, but not heavy, a presence. Then in the hands, a tingling, like a current has touched you, brief and curious. Then in the belly, a knowing that doesn't explain itself, but feels true. These are the tides speaking. You don't have to make sense of them. You only need to stay with them. There is no language in this depth, only impression, only echo, only vibration, and yet it speaks more clearly than any thought you've ever had. A flicker of memory arises, a moment when you didn't listen to yourself, when you silenced your own tide to follow someone else's current. You don't need to relive it. You only need to feel how it returns, not as punishment, as reminder. The ocean holds all of it, the forgetting and the remembering. And now it offers you a choice. Will you trust the voice without words? Will you listen not with your mind, but with your body? The answer doesn't come from thinking. It comes from softening, from letting the message be incomplete, unpolished, raw, real. Because this is not about knowing everything. This is about knowing what matters. And the sea always knows. The current turns slightly, as if guiding you to a new depth. You don't resist. You follow. Not because you understand, but because you feel the invitation. And as you go deeper, you begin to hear it more clearly. The sea is not separate from your intuition. It is your intuition, made visible, made audible, made sacred. There's nothing to chase here. No great realization waiting to burst through. Only the slow, steady unfolding of what you already know, but forgot how to hear. Let it come. Let it rise. Let it ripple through you without needing to grab hold. This is how the ocean speaks. And this is how you begin to understand without needing to explain. You drift in the current, not forward, not backward, just with it. There is no destination here, only unfolding, and the tide continues to speak. But now, the messages change. They don't arrive as guidance. They arrive as questions, soft, open-ended, like the ocean is holding up a mirror not to give you an answer, but to show you where to look. You feel them in your body before you name them. A rise in the chest, a tightening in the gut, a warmth behind your eyes. Where have you silenced yourself? Where have you rushed past your own knowing? Where are you pretending to be lost because it's easier than being found? You don't have to answer. You just have to listen. Let the questions move through you without grasping, without fixing. Just notice the echoes they leave behind. The ocean does not offer certainty. It offers space. And in that space, you begin to realize something powerful. Your intuition was never meant to be loud. It was never meant to shout over your mind. It was meant to whisper through your body, through sensation, through slowness, through trust. You are learning to trust again, not others, yourself. You begin to feel how often you've overridden your inner tide, for logic, for approval, for speed. But here, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is this. Are you willing to stay quiet long enough to hear what your soul has been saying all along? The tide circles around you now, like a hand tracing the edge of your ribs, like breath without lungs. You are being asked to soften again, to allow the answers to be unclear, to allow your next step to remain invisible just a little longer. Because clarity is not a sudden light, it's a tide, and it always rises. You are not here to figure it out. You are here to remember how to feel it. Let the knowing stay inside you, unspoken. Let it live there, warm and quiet. This is the language of the deep. This is the conversation you were born to have, not with the world, but with the water inside you. The more you listen, the more you recognize the voice, and the more you trust it, the more it becomes your own. You are not standing still, but you're not moving by will either. The tide has taken over now, not in domination but in care. It moves through you like the earth turns under the stars, without question, without pause. And you begin to realize intuition doesn't lead with explanation. It leads with direction, not a map, not a plan, a pull. You feel it now. The way your body leans ever so slightly towards something unseen. There's no decision here, only response, only listening with your bones. And the sea begins to lead you. You don't ask, where are we going? You ask, can I trust this? And the answer is not a word. It's the calm in your chest. It's the absence of resistance in your breath. That's how you know. The tide takes you through a new layer, one you didn't know was waiting. It looks like silence, but it feels like memory, not from this life, but from something deeper, an old kind of knowing. You don't remember the details, but you recognize the feeling. You've been guided before. You've followed currents others couldn't see. And even when it felt like you were lost, you were simply being turned, reoriented by something wiser than your mind. The ocean doesn't lead you in straight lines. It circles, it spirals, it waits. And now it whispers again, not a question, but an invitation. Will you keep listening even when it's quiet? Will you keep moving even when the way is unclear? You don't answer out loud. You answer by staying, by relaxing your grip, by letting the water hold more of your weight. That is how you say yes. You begin to feel how the tide isn't something outside of you. It is you. It is the part of you that never forgot. The part that doesn't panic when the path disappears. The part that knows everything sacred begins in the dark and blooms in silence. So, you let the tide carry you, not away, toward what? You don't know, but you've never been more sure of what you feel, and that is enough. You are deeper now than you've ever been, not just in the ocean, in yourself. And then, it happens, not suddenly, but with a softness so complete you almost miss it. A shift, a still point, a moment that feels like the answer has arrived, but it doesn't speak, it doesn't declare, it doesn't shine with clarity. It rests, it hums, it pulses from within your body like a soft light behind closed eyes. You don't need to name it, you don't need to understand. You only need to feel how your body reacts to it, the way your shoulders sink another inch, the way your breath feels like warm tide, the way your mind stops searching and simply sits beside it, quiet. This is what the tide has been carrying you toward. Not a sentence, not a sign, but a state of being that says, I hear you, I see you, I've been with you all along. You feel it in your chest, not as a release, but as recognition. Something inside you settles, and in that settling, you begin to remember you are not lost, you are not late, you are not disconnected. You've simply been too loud to hear the whisper, too fast to feel the tide, too focused on answers to recognize the wisdom already rising in your bones. Now, in this moment of deep stillness, you hear everything you need to hear, not in language, but in knowing. A memory returns of a time you didn't listen to logic, but followed your feeling, and it led you somewhere real. Another flicker, a time you didn't trust the tide, and still it held you. Both were part of your path. The tide never blamed you. It only waited for you to slow down again, to return to its rhythm, to return to your own. The message isn't loud because it doesn't have to be. It's quiet because it trusts you now. You've proven that you're ready to listen. So let it speak. Let it echo. Let it become part of your breath, your pace, your presence. You don't need to remember it word for word. You'll feel it when you move through the world, like a current beneath everything. This is the voice of the tides, and now it's part of you. The tide has calmed, not because it's gone, but because it has spoken. And now you rise, not upward, inward, not fast, but sure. There's no pull this time, only presence, only a subtle lift, like your breath is carrying you gently through layers of stillness. You feel your body again, more solid, but not heavy. Your thoughts return, but softer now, quieter, less urgent. The noise is still in the world, but not in you, because now something inside you is listening, not to others, to yourself, and your voice, the one you buried beneath explanations and plans, is rising with you. It carries the rhythm of the tide. It echoes the wisdom of the deep. And it will speak again when you are quiet enough to hear. Let your fingers slowly stir. Let your breath widen. Let your awareness stretch outward, but not to lose the stillness, only to carry it with you. You are not leaving the ocean behind. You are bringing it into everything you touch. You will walk differently now, not because the world has changed, but because you're anchored. You're anchored to the whisper beneath the noise, to the current beneath the surface, to the voice that never left. And even when the world gets loud again, and it will, you'll remember the tide is still speaking. You just have to stop and feel it. And now you know how. Take one more breath, not as a goodbye, but as a beginning. You've returned, not to the surface, but to yourself. The sea is quiet now, but it's still listening, and so are you.